And I look at this, and I'm afraid I feel an awful lot like Ronald Reagan said he felt about the Democrats years ago. I am still standing where I was. Standing where I stood as a result of the years when I tried to understand the terrible injustice of slavery and came to the conclusion that the best understanding of it is based upon our founding principles, and the best refutation of it is based upon living out our American creed. I'm still standing there. I'm still standing for the America that was not afraid to shoulder the burdens and the responsibilities that came with that providential success which God gave us in the world. Now, I know there are people right now dissatisfied, I guess, with some of the things that I believe, because I won't go along with the Clinton-Obama-like desire to withdraw America from engagement with the world. And they think this is evidence of some terrible desire. No. Do you know why I do? A couple of reasons. Step number one, we need to remember that there are two sides to sovereignty. That's why I wish we would reintroduce this term into our understanding. Sovereignty isn't just about having your way. No. The sovereign is the person responsible, the one responsible for making decisions that affect the whole people, the whole community, the whole nation. I wonder if Americans think about that when they look at the way these politicians, McCain, everybody else, panders to them now. Want to win votes? Promise them a tax cut. I tell you, I have always been irritated by Republicans who stand up and act like if they give us a tax cut, they're doing us a big favor by letting us keep some of our own money, and therefore we should vote for them. Right? We have become so debased, so degraded, that we can be bribed with an offer to keep what is already ours if they had not falsely asserted that somehow it belongs first and foremost to the government that is supposed to serve us. But no. And of course the Democrats bribing us with our own money and programs that they filter through bureaucracies where the effects don't even get to the people that they're supposed to have. Okay? That understanding that you come before the people, I'll take care of you. I'll let you pursue your lusts. I'll let you pursue your greed. I'll let you pursue your selfishness. I'll let you make your choice. I'll relieve you of the burden of defending yourself and defending your country and defending your community. You'll live in safety and security and prosperity. I'll feed you and shelter you and clothe you and do all these things for you. That's what they want us to believe. Is this the way to speak to the sovereign? To speak to the sovereign as if the only thing that sovereign should care about is to cater to its own appetites, its own lust, its own passions, its own greed. Sovereignty involves responsibility. And we do not show respect for the sovereign people of the United States if we are not willing to remind them that they have a responsibility for American freedom. They have a responsibility for the future generations who are supposed to enjoy that freedom. They have a responsibility before God to respect the right, which is the foundation stone of all our rights. And if they don't, then we will lose it all. But we don't have leaders anymore willing to say these unpleasant things. I am taken to task for this all the time. I will not treat the American people without respect. And if you treat people without respect when you act as if all they are about is their own mortal and finite passion, that they have no aspiration to live in some way for that which shall outlast us all, because it reflects the permanent will of our Creator God. I long for such a politics again, for we have had leaders who understood it. But now we have parties that have degenerated below the level of that kind of statesmanship. I long for a time when we will come together again as people. We could call it a party if you like, but it will really represent a community of principle that will challenge each and every person in each and every group and each and every community to outdo the others in making sure that the great principles that strengthen our liberty and our institutions are respected, not destroyed, so that they can be served. I long for a party that will, in giving priority to those great principles, restore both the form and the policy content that must go along with our rights as a free people. Not let abusive judges usurp the rights of our legislatures. Not let abusive legislators destroy the rights of our people. But where shall I find it? I am pondering this question. I think there is some hope. I've been looking at a party that bears a good name, the Constitution Party. But I think there are challenges no matter where I look. Because, as I just said, I will neither abandon the great moral principles that make us free, nor will I abandon the practical application of those principles that require strong and secure borders that reflect the sovereign control of our people, that requires judges who have been put back in their place to judge according to, not make the laws, that require legislators who will respect the prerogative of the people, not to be cared for by a despotic government, but rather to care for themselves as they use that government for the limited purposes for which it is the proper instrument. I long for this. And I also long for a people who will not shrink from its responsibilities in the world, will not hide behind some words spoken in a different time by our great founding president, when he cautioned against entangling alliances in order to keep a young fledgling country from involving itself in the great disputes of the greatest powers in the world, which could gobble that little country up. Well, you all have noticed, haven't you? We are now the greatest power in the world. We cannot shrink from that engagement. We cannot shrink from the responsibility that goes along with that great blessing. And sometimes I wonder, the very same people who say, oh, God, we got to get out of Iraq tomorrow, we got to do this, we got to do that, because we shouldn't be involved anywhere doing anything. And I'm thinking to myself, well, where does this come from? Is it a coincidence some of the same people dislike the idea of universal service to our country? Draft and all that. Oh, no, don't do that to me. These are people who forget. Liberty's not about the individual doing what they please. It's about giving to every individual the opportunity to do what is right, so that in doing what is right, they have the right to what they do. You see, but we forget this. We want to have licentiousness instead of liberty. We want to have despotism and a government that cares for all our needs, rather than a liberty which leaves us responsible, not just for our own welfare, as some conservatives would say, but for the welfare of our whole nation and its impact upon the world. That is what it means to be part of the sovereign body of the people. The other day I was looking at a book title by a fellow I know, Grover Norquist, who has had many good campaigns to keep our taxes down and other things. And the title of his book was Leave Us Alone. And it seemed to be referring to people in America who want the government to leave them alone. But I ask you to consider this question. If the people of the United States are the sovereign here, they're like the king or the sultan and so forth and so on, and they have ministers who are the president and the legislature, do we really want the ministers to leave us alone? When they come in to tell us about some great problem that confronts the nation, do we want to say, no, I'm too busy fornicating, I'm too busy pursuing my aspirations, I'm too busy pursuing money, don't bother me with the public business? Is that what we say? Because I'll tell you, y'all, that's not the characteristic of a good sovereign. That's the characteristic of a bad, soon-to-be-deposed sovereign who is refusing the responsibilities of their great office. If we want to be the sovereign people of America, if we want this to be a government of, by, and for the people, then we should not ask the government to leave us alone. We should have no intention of leaving them alone with the power that they can abuse against us.